Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today I have a returning guest with us. Listen, he's an author. He works on movies. I mean, he does a little bit of everything. You also may know him as Scary Gary. I have with us Gary Hill, and he has a new book out right now that's called Gallery of Oddities. Gary, welcome back to the Horror Room.
Thank you very much. Glad to be back. I told you I'd always be glad to come back anytime.
Anytime, man. Listen, and I'm glad to have you back on. Now, tell us about this new book, which is called Gallery of Oddities.
Okay, I actually have a copy right here. It is a collection of stuff. You know, I started looking around at all the things I'd published over the last few years as far as short pieces. And in 3 years' time, I'd gotten, it's a thick book. I'd gotten quite a bit of stuff published. And so I decided it was time to do another collection. That's the third one I've done. There were like a dozen fiction pieces, and then a lot of nonfiction paranormal stuff, and some movie reviews that have been published at various places. A lot of fun stuff in there. It's all pretty much spooky. Oh, and some haikus, because I started doing some haikus recently. I did some for Horrifying Holidays 2, and I also did some for weird, spooky and weird. I think I did some haikus, some Lovecraftian haikus. So I included all those in there too.
Now, what made you decide to put all of these different projects together in one book?
I've tried to collect. I mean, you know what? I put this stuff out there in all kinds of different places, and every so often I try to collect a lot of it so somebody can just buy that and catch up on a lot of the stuff. Now, literally, I didn't put all the nonfiction pieces I've done in there, partly because some of them I didn't have the rights to move the pictures over from the other books, and partly because it would have been too big of a book. So I just sort of picked some that I liked the most, but that just shows you how much I put out. But I figured it's a good way for somebody to get the stuff all in one place and kind of gather it together. That's why I like to do those once in a while and give people sort of a sampling of the things that I do, because my stuff is sort of all over the place. I did actually do some music stuff in here too. But they tend to be mostly there's some Christmas music stuff in there too. They're print edition exclusives that I do at Music Street Journal, and so I collected those up too. So it's kind of a little bit of everything I do. Which seems like a good way for an introduction for somebody to some of my stuff.
Now, as the author and an artist, isn't it interesting to go back and look at some of your older stuff and see how much you've grown and even your style has changed?
Yeah, it is really. But you know, it's funny. Sometimes I'll get an old piece of mine, and I'll look at it, and I'll think, I don't remember that being very good. And then I read it, and it's like, you know, that actually is pretty good. It's a lot better than I remember it being. But yeah, I mean, there's some things I wish I could change in some of the older stuff. I know people do that sometimes. They'll go through and rewrite it and put it out. I'm not overly crazy about the revisionist thing. It just seems a little artificial to me. I think writing tends to be sort of where you are at that time, and it ought to just be left the way it is. Mostly, I think, anyway. I mean, if you've come across some really bad typos or something, that's one thing. But beyond that, I think it should just sort of be left as sort of a time capsule, I guess. Again, nothing against the people who decide to rewrite it, but I just don't. It's not my kind of thing.
Because I agree, but why do you think we do that as creators? Like, I mean, like even like with me with my YouTube channel, I've been doing this for a little bit over a year, and like I think about some of my early work that I don't go back and rewatch. I'm like, oh, it's probably that bad or this and that, and like. But why do we as creators, but I go back, I recently went back and watched them, I was like, wow, that was pretty damn good. But why do we do that as creators? We think that our beginning work is not as great.
Well, I think for one thing, if you're growing as an artist, everything you do should be your best. The thing you're working on now should be the best thing you've ever done, at least in your mind. But also, I think, and I don't know this factually, but from, I hang around with a lot of creative people. It's sort of my circle of people, or a bunch of creatives, right? And one thing that I think is almost universal, if not universal, is imposter syndrome. And I think we're also our own worst critics. And we tend to see the stuff. I remember playing in bands, and I remember get through a song, and I'm like, oh, geez, I really screwed that up. And everybody's like, what? I didn't hear it. We're our own worst enemies. And I just sort of think that goes with the creative, whatever it is. If it's a gene, I don't know what it is. But, those of us who are creative, it's like a compulsion. Sorry, I watched too much Andy Griffith. I want to say it as compulsion because that's how Barney Fife says it. But it's compulsion. I think it's almost a compulsion to create. I don't think we really have a choice in the matter. We just have to do it. But I think, those of us who are like that, I think it might be a curse that we have that sort of goes with whatever it is that makes us creative, that we wind up being our own worst critics,
Also, I think it's a good thing because it doesn't to evolve over time. Like I'm pretty sure you're the same way. Like every interview I do, every video I do, every month that passes by, I try to evolve and try to fix certain things and grow because, for my audience, if I'm doing the same shit over and over again, it becomes stale. So, you definitely have to constantly reinvent yourself.
Yeah, if you're not doing something fresh and improving on what you've done before, what's the point in continuing to do it? It's all about growth as an artist. And I do think, again, going back to my whole thing of why you probably don't want to, at least I don't want to rewrite those things. Those are part of the journey I took, and they're sort of how I got there, and they're like the historical record of the progression, and to rewrite it is like trying to rewrite history. It just seems wrong to me.
Yeah. I agree. Now, as an author, do you try? Because I did this. So I did this when as an author, but a YouTube creator. I try to toss little new. There's a saying that it's like tossing spaghetti on a wall and see if it sticks, or something like that. So every once in a while I'll try a new thing. Like I tried a horror dating show, right? And it completely fucking failed. It completely failed. No one fucking watched it. The actual lady who was on the show, no one reached out to her for a date. It just completely fucking bombed. And I thought it was the greatest idea ever. But I was like, oh, no one even, I don't even think most people even knew that was even an episode on my show. But yes, it was a live episode. And but like, do you try to do new things and to see if it sticks on the wall or not every once in a while?
Yeah, I think more. Well, for stories and writing, I don't necessarily go out of my way to try something new just because it's new. I try to explore ideas, and it's like something comes up and it's like, hey, that's a really cool idea. And you know what? I've got a bunch of them sitting in the back of my head that I just haven't had time to write, that at some point maybe I'll get a chance to write. But for the YouTube channel, I'm constantly looking at ways to sort of do things a little outside the box. I mean, like I was doing the spooky news thing for years, literally years. And this year I had come up with the character of D.B. Lovecraft as a remote reporter for Spooky Movie Time with Scary Gary. And so I thought, well, why don't I bring him into the spooky news too? Which, I mean, it's just me in a Reaper costume. And then I dub the voice because you can't hear me in the mask, and also because it's cool because I can do the little demonic stuff. But I thought, well, let's just add that to spooky news because he's a reporter, so it kind of fits. Whether anybody likes that, I don't know. I haven't gotten feedback on that part of it. But it's funny, we've got somebody, and I don't really know who this person is, but I've got one person on the YouTube channel that every morning that a new video goes up, within a few hours, I've got a comment from this person. And it's like, that's our biggest fan, no question about it.
Yeah.
And I know she likes DB, so that's cool. DB Lovecraft, the reporter, so that's cool, I guess. You know what? Our fan likes it, so I'm doing something right.
Yes. I'm the same way. I have my loyal fans. No matter what I put up, bad, good, or whatever, they always comment, "Hey, I like this," and
Yeah,
and I love those fans because I like hearing from my fans, what good, bad, ugly, or not. You know what I mean?
right.
I like to hear from my fans, hey, this is something that I like, or this is something we didn't like, and that helps me as a creator grow or give them something
Exactly.
more, give them more than like. Now, we're going to jump over to YouTube creators. So, like I said, you were talking about you're a YouTube creator as well.
Right.
Now, and there's a lot of individuals who are thinking about or they're just starting their YouTube career. What is some advice when it comes to horror on YouTube?
I almost wonder sometimes if it's oversaturated. Um,
It is.
yeah, I think it is oversaturated. I'm not sure that. I guess here's what I would say about any form of art, and it's even more true with YouTube. Do it because you want to do it, and it's something that you want to see. And if people watch it, that's great, but don't get disappointed if they don't. Don't get disappointed if it doesn't get found. Also, YouTube algorithms are really, really weird. Like, you'll do really, really well for a while, and then it just falls off. I had a month and a half very recently where I was going from at least double digits and a lot of times triple digit views on videos within a week to single digit. And it lasted for a month and a half, and now it seems to have come back. And I have no idea what happened. I didn't do anything differently. I just assume they changed the algorithm. I know you and I talked about this in private messages, and your theory was that it was a lot of people on vacation, and part of the time that might have been true, but I don't think that was it the whole time. So yeah, YouTube is fickle, and it's just like I said, you've got to do any kind of art. You've got to do it because you want to do it and put out the stuff you want. And if somebody gets on board, hey, that's great. I do that with books. When I publish books, I put them out there because it's something I want on my bookshelf. And if people buy it, that's a bonus. But I don't expect anyone to buy them. So I'm very happy when they do, and I'm very happy when I get comments. I've got a guy who says I'm his favorite author, and that's amazing to me, and also a little confusing because I'm like, how can I be your favorite author with all the other authors out there? There's that imposter syndrome thing creeping in. But, it's just, you always have to do art for yourself. You have to be selfish with it and hope that somebody else gets it.
I agree. Now, and the crazy thing about my YouTube channel, and I think you and I talked about this briefly off camera, it's the stuff that I'm not passionate about, the videos that I'm not, it's going to lead into another conversation.
Yeah.
It's the videos that I'm not necessarily that passionate about are the ones that people love. They absolutely
the weirdest
love.
thing, isn't it? You cannot predict what videos are going to be popular. Like, my most popular video on my channel is an audiobook that is literally nothing but a LibriVox audiobook recording that I put some pictures to and put it out there as a video. And it's like some lady from like the 1800s. I can't even remember for sure her name or the story, but it's got way more views than anything else. I don't know why. I mean, it's a decent story, but you just can't predict this stuff.
Yeah, because like I mean like like my popular videos, which I'm famous for, which is sad because I want to be famous for the indie horror. There's indie horror interview guy. That's what I want to be famous for. But I'm famous for being the guy who covers the Face for Horror scam. I'm the Face for Horror scam guy. Like, and I go out to horror convention all the time, and no one ever says, "Oh, that's the Horror Realm indie horror interview guy." No, that's the Face of Horror scam guy. And those videos get thousands and thousands and thousands of views, subscribers, and all that good stuff, right?
Right.
I thank you for the Face of Horror scam videos because they helped me get monetized in my first year,
There you go.
And like, but that's not something I'm passionate about. I'm not saying I'm not passionate about it. Because I feel some kind of way about the way that contest rolls, and not just that contest, all those contests that the company rolls. And I've I was born in '80, so I've been through I've been through a couple generations of scams because each generation has their scams. So I've been through the whole the MLM, the
Multi-level marketing.
multi-level marketing. I've done that. You know, I've signed up for a Prime America selling life insurance. You got to grab a whole bunch of people and sell it to your families and this and that. I've been through that shit. I mean, I've worked, in cemetery sales, get people and prearrange because you're locking in for the price or you save money. I mean, I've done all those scams. I've been through those scams. I've seen those scams, the little Leroy and the Mary Kay. That was my generation of scams. And those things kind of, for the most part, have kind of died off and went away. Right. And now these online competition fundraisers, they are the new generation of people scam.
Yeah, and you know what? I have a few people on my friends list who are shooting for it again this year, and it's like I feel bad for them. It's like I don't want to. How do you deal with that? You don't want to go, dude, this is a scam. You don't invest too much in it, but you also don't want to watch them go and get their hopes crushed like, everybody else has.
Yeah.
I know, like you and I have talked about it. You and I both did it. I got maybe third round I got through the first time. Yeah, I think. The only time
I finished second place in the quarterfinals, which is you go through 4 rounds, and I made it into the wild card round because if you finish in second place, you got into the wild card right. And I finished second place in the wild card right, so I made it further than most people do. Yeah, so that's why I kind of know.
Did you spend a lot of money, or did your friends spend a lot of money?
Oh my God!
Here we go.
I say in my videos, $800.
Oh,
$800. I'm talking about those were just in quote unquote donations. But then I spent probably about $300 in cheat votes, which are you can hire these services. So I spent that was just to make it through the quarterfinals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to make it through the quarterfinals, and I just felt sickening about it. That's why I felt sickening behind it because I see the contestants, I see what they're doing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's the same shit I was doing. You lie to your friends and your family, and you say, "Oh, I'm in first place. I'm in first place," but you leave out, "I'm in first place in one of 8 rounds with 2,000." And there's 2,016 other fucking groups. You leave that information out.
Yeah,
you leave that information out because no one's going to donate any fucking money if you say that.
And I kind of shot myself. Well, no, I mean, I did the right thing, but as far as getting far in the thing, I shot myself in the foot because I told everybody, don't give them any money, just vote. Because I didn't spend any money on it, and I didn't want anybody else putting their money into it. But it's wow, what a scam.
It's a scam, but it's not only what you'll see in my last 2 videos. I'm only going to do 2 more videos, and I'm done with that shit. But it's proven the contest is a scam is tough, right?
Right.
But it's the people who run the contest. Now that's easy to prove that they're scammers because they have a long history of scamming. This is not their first rodeo.
How do they my question is, how do they get Rue Morgue magazine involved? Because Rue Morgue's pretty legitimate. I mean, that's a...
Oh, I can answer that question. Cool, I can answer that question because I'm the expert on these contests now.
Yeah, I figure you are.
So Rue Morgue is not part of the competition. They bought an ad. So Rue Morgue, Kane Hodder, Ghostbusters, whatever, all these places are not endorsing this competition. If you look at the rules and regulations, they're saying they're not endorsing. They are paid. They purchase an ad. So they purchase it, like you can go and purchase an egg in a Rue Morgue. I can purchase an egg. It's just purchasing an ad. So they got sued. The same company, they had a cooking one, and they got sued by Bon Appetit magazine by saying Bon Appetit magazine endorsed this cooking contest. And Bon Appetit said, no, we do not. No. please take that out. We did not endorse this. You purchased an ad in our magazine. You don't know nothing about this competition. You just purchased an ad.
Well, that explains it, because I wondered why Rue Morgue was involved. Because
that's how I thought, because that makes it legit. When you see
Kane Hodder,
Rue Morgue, and this and that, it's probably still misleading. It makes it legit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as much, not to be rude, but not as much to Kane Hodder, because, you know what, he's an actor, and if he gets paid enough money, he'll endorse something. Probably, you know, there are exceptions to that rule, but for the proper fee, most actors will endorse something. So I wasn't as impressed with him being on there, but Rue Morgue, yes, because they're a very legitimate and respectable magazine. Correct.
And but even says in Kane Hodder doesn't endorse this contest. He doesn't even promote it on none of his social medias. He don't talk about it. It's pretty much they pay him a fee to, you know, I can imagine what that fee, but they pay him a fee to cut a couple promos and then show up for a couple hours for a photo shoot. That's what they pay him to do. I mean, something that any horror convention that he's at does. You know, they pay him to show up, take a couple pictures, and leave. You know, do a quick promo and leave.
Yeah, so. It's wow.
Yes, but yeah, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible contest. I mean, it's not even a contest. It's a pay to vote, because if you don't pay money, you're not going to win.
Exactly.
And it's just not transparent at all.
Yeah, it's very much very scammy. I won't say it's a scam, because I don't want somebody coming after me, but I will say it is scammy.
Yes, and that's what people like say. Oh, it's just not a scam. This is not a scam. It's okay, even if it's not a scam, it's misleading.
It's very misleading.
It's misleading. So let's just say it's not a scam. It's misleading, and it's ran by people with a history of scamming. So, I mean, what is that?
Yeah, and let me say this. Do you know the winners of any of the years? I mean, you can look it up. But do you know, was there ever any publicity about them being a winner?
None. No. Zero. It's like they go into witness. It's like they go into witness protection or something.
It's like you're winning a non-prize.
Exactly, because you would think. I mean, I would think right now, if I had the Horror Realm Horror Fan Award, right?
Right.
I would send that person out to do as many podcasts and YouTube interviews. I would have them at horror conventions with a booth.
Yeah,
I would, because it's supposed to be a prize, right? Like Miss America, anything. It's supposed to be a prize where I'm going to take you on tour for a year.
Right.
So people would say, "Oh, this is something real. This is something legit. This is this and that." I would not just have them take a couple pictures in a magazine that the rest of the population can't see, because it's a special vanity magazine that they do. So so it's a magazine that the average public is not even going to see. And then post up 3 shitty pictures a year and say, "Hey, look, this is what they won." Like, I would want that person to go out there and promote the Face of Horror contest and say, "Hey, this is legit. This is who I am." Because the average person who signs up for this contest, a lot of them say, "I want to do this contest because I want exposure." You know what I mean? I want some kind of exposure, whether it be FX makeup, modeling, acting, whatever. I want some kind of exposure, but you don't get no exposure with this contest.
Exactly.
Absolutely none.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Yes, it's crazy. All right.
And I hope, you know what, once this video goes live, I'm going to tag some of my friends who are in it. Maybe it's a good way.
Please do. Please do. I'm getting like death threats. Well, I've been getting death threats since last year from people who are in this contest. It's like a cult, man.
Yeah.
When you tell them this is fake and you show them actual evidence, like in my videos, I'm not just talking out my ass. I'm showing boom, boom, boom. These are links. They get violent. They get upset. They get, I mean, it turn into children. Like it's like someone telling, a child that wrestling is fake.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. I think the people, especially the people who are in it and trying to win, it's almost when people get really angry is when you're attacking something that they see as their identity, and so they really legitimately think they have a chance at winning this thing, and that it's going to be a good thing for them. And so in a way, that's tied to their identity. And so by saying it's a scam, you're kind of attacking that, and that's when people get really defensive.
Yeah. But also, too, I think a lot of people get pissed off at me in the contest by saying it's a scam because they think that less people are going to support them financially or vote wise in the contest if everybody thinks it's a scam.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it's selfish reasons.
Less money going to the group, though, I would say is a good thing.
It is because I mean I don't understand how you're picking the biggest horror fan if it's whoever has the most money. That's not the biggest horror fan.
Yeah, you know what? Any pay to play is rigged. Period.
Exactly. It's not an even playing field at that point.
Nope.
So let's talk about other things in horror.
Okay.
Right now, this year, when it comes to horror films, there's been a lot of good horror films, indie and big budget, coming out. And it's actually been for the last couple of years. Do you think in the next couple? I mean, listen. When it comes to horror does this and it does this and it plummets, right? For the last 3 years, horror has been going up. Do you think we're going to see a plummet coming next year or around the corner?
I think this time might be different. I think this time might be different because horror is starting to get a little more respect. I think it's starting to be seen as a little more legitimate art. I mean, people have always kind of frowned on it, but you just sort of see it. I mean, there have been some nominations and some award shows and things that you wouldn't expect. So I don't know. Maybe it's going to become a pillar of, what culture is. I hope. Let's put it that way. I mean, I've got a vested interest because most of what I do is horror, but I hope it's going to become kind of a pillar of what upholds culture in general and gets more respect. And if so, it's probably going to continue to grow for a while. I mean, it'll plateau off at some point, obviously, but I don't know. Perhaps it is more of a hope than actual prediction, but let's see what happens.
I mean, I definitely hope. I hope you're right. But I just feel like over time, I feel like the horror genre right now is oversaturated. We're talking about YouTube horror channels. I mean, it is impossible. I mean, it is tough. I mean, if I told you the amount of shit I have to do just to get the views and the subscribers I did, it's full time fucking job. And
I've been starting to experiment with buying some promos and stuff and see how that does, because you got to do something to get the edge.
You do. I mean, like one of the things I do is listen. I'm gonna share one of my cheat codes. Okay. I go to horror conventions. I don't care what horror convention it is. It could be a book festival. It could be whatever. Right.
Right.
And I have this little wrist thing. It's called DOT. It's a business card. Well, it's a barcode, and people can just scan. Right.
Right.
And it goes straight to my YouTube channel and my social media. And I just randomly ask people, "Hey, I'm from horror realm, blah blah blah," and I will just scan this barcode and subscribe to my channel. And I've gotten to the point now. I have a horror realm T-shirt and a sweatshirt I wear, and it has the barcode on the back, and it says scan and subscribe. And but that's what I do. I go to a lot of horror conventions, book festivals, all that stuff. And you just walk around. Now I don't even say nothing. I just walk around with a sweatshirt on, with a T-shirt on. And I walk out. I got 60 subscribers out of the blue. I'm like, okay, sweet,
nice. That's a really good idea.
You just got to advertise yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, literally like a walking billboard.
Yeah. I try to wear the merch as much as possible.
Yes, it's all about marketing.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, ultimately, I don't ever really expect to make any money off the YouTube channel. I've actually got the Cafe Press store where I sell the merchandise, which I hope will take off if the YouTube channel takes off. But
Yeah.
neither one have taken off that much. I mean, the YouTube channel has been gradually building every year. Not as fast as I would like, but it is a gradual building, which I think is a good thing. And we do get more interaction, which to me, interaction is key. You know, you get people interacting, it means they're interested in what you're doing. They're not just clicking, watching a little bit, and then clicking off, you know?
Yeah, I agree. But yeah,
So,
but I mean, but the one thing I'm terrified with horror is, listen, listen, I hate to say it, but it is becoming oversaturated when it comes. It's indie, big budget. I mean,
yeah,
it's so much material. It's so much material, and also too, you got to dig through a lot of shit in order to find the good stuff.
yeah, especially on YouTube.
Yes,
Because like when
Tubi.
you get to I don't even watch Tubi. I used to do Tubi, and it was too hard to navigate and too hard to find anything worthwhile. And you know what, I'm kind of a dinosaur because I don't really stream stuff. I have an ever-growing collection of DVDs and Blu-rays, and if it's either on on-air TV or on my discs, that's how I watch it usually. I don't know. I used to do streaming, but I just didn't really like it. There's just something missing in the experience for me.
I agree. Now I see that you're wearing a hat that says "She Knows." Is that the sequel to "He Knows" by Steve?
Yes, it is. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, let's talk about that. I love "He Knows." By the way, you can find that on Tubi right now, streaming on Tubi.
Yes, and He Knows is awesome. So here's the deal. She Knows is going to be the sequel to He Knows. Now, Steve is also doing a movie right now called Bad Apples, which they just finished production. Now, as part of the fundraiser for the Indiegogo for Bad Apples, one of the things they had was a raffle. And you paid your Indiegogo and you got included in this raffle. Well, I won the raffle at one point. And Steve was like, well, you can get $100 worth of merch, or you can come out and film with us. And he's like, you'll get a couple lines and you'll get killed. And I'm like, let's do that then. And so in September, 1st of September, we drove out to Indianapolis and shot. Now, here's the thing. What we actually shot is a proof of concept for She Knows. But it's going to be included. I think once he gets it all done down to a movie kind of thing, it's going to be included on the Blu-ray for Bad Apples as like a bonus feature. I guess part of it's going to be used as a movie within a movie in Bad Apples, and part of it's going to be the prologue to She Knows. But I'm hoping, Steve, you're watching, I'm hoping he invites me to come show up for doing the feature, because I would love to do an actual scene in the feature. But yeah, we went there. We were there for 2 days. My wife and I both got some lines, and it was cool. We got to be set up like my book signing table, and that got filmed. And we had a scene where this guy came over and bought a book, and he was super creepy in the way he walked off, and we reacted to that. And then the fun part was I got some makeup done on me, and I got laid down on the floor dead and they felt like they poured about a quart of fake blood all over me, which was really cold. Oh. And had people running and jumping around me. It was great. Good fun. And so yeah, that's the little proof of concept for She Knows, which will be the sequel to He Knows.
And for anybody who doesn't know, well, please watch on Tubi. He Knows is this fucking killer elf who's creepy as all hell, and he's just murdering everybody on that list.
Sammy is so creepy. I got to see several Sammy costumes on set and some Sammy masks, and it was a good time. And I met some amazing people. So yeah, and I hope to always work with Steve from now on, because he's an amazing guy.
Steve is awesome, and I've had him on the show, so definitely watch that interview as we talk about He Knows and Bad Apples. And by the way, he's coming back on soon too. So
yeah, that's awesome. By the way, I heard Steve has mentioned. I don't know if this is, too much to give away, but She Knows might not actually take place at Christmas. It might take place earlier in the year, which is kind of interesting. I'm not going to give more detail than that, but it's just kind of interesting that it might not take place at Christmas.
Okay.
And you can maybe ask Steve about that when you have
Yes. Yes. All right, Gary.
By the way, can I mention too?
Sure.
I'm going to have a cameo in another movie I know of for sure, which is from Will Colazzo and oh dear God, I'm blanking on the name here. Julianne Prescott. I'm sorry. Anyway, they're doing this movie, Halloween Shark, and I'm going to get a cameo as Scary Gary, which is going to be awesome. But that's
nice.
a movie hosting character, so I'm going to be shooting that one remote. But I hope to see the script very soon because it sounds like it's amazing from hearing Julie talk about it. So, yeah, that's another one I'm going to be doing.
Loving it. Now, Gary, where can everyone find you, your book, and all of your work, man?
Okay, the easiest way to find everything is GaryHillAuthor.com. Literally, there are links to Music Street Journal, links to all my books, links to the Spooky Ventures. I don't know if there's a page specifically for Spooky Movie Time with Scary Gary there, but if you go to SpookyVentures.com, there is a page specifically for Scary Gary. And actually, there are two pages because there's one for the Spooky Movie Time with Scary Gary merch. Buy a T-shirt.
Yes, buy a T-shirt.
But yeah, so those are probably the best places to look.
Awesome. Listen, everybody, get out and grab your copy of Gallery of Oddities, and also to follow Gary on the website. Listen on social media, and also to look out for She Knows.
Yes.
And all of his other work.
Yes.
Gary, listen, it's been a blast having you on, man. Always a pleasure.
Always, my friend.
All right,
we'll do more stuff.
Okay, listen, I would love to have a guest appearance on your YouTube channel. If you can make that happen.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Love that.
But we'll talk about it. And I know you mentioned something about coming on and doing movie review with you sometime, and let's do that
yes.
too. Let's absolutely do that. I'm always game for collaborating with people I like. So let's plan on this stuff.
Okay, put in the comments, everybody. Would you like to see Scary Gary and Travis from the Horror Room do To Be Tuesdays in the future?
Hey, I could even show up as Scary Gary. Because this isn't Scary Gary. This is Scary Gary.
This is a good idea.
By the way, I should mention, there's also a YouTube channel called Movie Knots. And I know we've talked about you about possibly coming on as a guest. The Movie Knots, it's a gentleman named Ron Fuchs, and it's his channel, and he hosts the show. But I do all the video editing, and we meet, and the other panelist who's always there is Bill Camp. And we meet up once a month and talk about, we each pick 5 movies under a certain category. And then that goes up on YouTube. And it's really cool. We sort of introduce people to these movies that they might not have seen. You know, as Ron always says, now you got 15 movies to check out that you may have never seen before. So I should mention that one too.
Awesome. Listen. Everybody look out, because Scary Gary and Horror Room are going to be collaborating.
Let's do it. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, it's going to be happening.
All
right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. And that's Scary Gary, Gary Hill. We'll see you next time. Take care.